To call the meeting to order today. Please stand for the November 26th meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chair.
Please silence your cell phones and take a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. Roll call. I'll begin with Commissioner Mike Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Culbertson is absent. Commissioner Doug Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Stephen.
Here.
And Commissioner Cos, and I am here. Okay, public comment. We have an individual signed up for public comment today. Cody Herbster. Come on up and
Thank you.
please give your name and.
I'm Cody Herbster. My address is 4247 Aspen Drive, Baser, Kansas. Good morning, Commissioners. Appreciate the time this morning. I'm here speaking on what I would assume you guys understand. This will be the second time we're back here with a couple changes to the Thomas Farm second plat in Baser.
Yeah.
At 147th Street and Donahue Road. As was decided last time by this body, there will be no access granted off of a minimally maintained road on Donahue. We have made modifications to the plan that will go from 4 lots to 2 lots on Donahue. Those 2 lots will have a shared driveway off of 147th Street, which is not obviously a minimally maintained road. There is a spacing issue that there's 300 feet. We are going in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals. That application has already been filed, and I believe everything was sent out yesterday or a couple days ago for that meeting. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them, but I just wanted to say thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr.
Do you
Clem.
have something you'd like to say today? Come on up. Okay, thank you.
Start yet now. My paper out here, so I can get to 3 minutes. I don't want to challenge 3 minutes.
He's looking at you, Mark.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. My name's Louis Klemp. I live at 1816 Pine Ridge Drive, Leavenworth, Kansas. Okay. Been here for 86 years. The reason I'm here is there is no county administrator anymore. It's a state administrator, and most of you people don't know that. But they don't help us at all. I have a piece of property that's residential, and it was residential in 2013. You know what they classify it as? Commercial. How do you do that? It says right here, oh, it's residential. And up here it says, and the state went along, you pay them $100 for the second session. Third session, they never got the reply that back. They said they gave it back, and I'm sure they did. But with all the mail you get today, it says, description, residential, service, garage, paint shop, or detailing. Now, how on that, you know what, does that relate to residential? I also have 3 lots that are unbuildable. Everybody hear that word? Unbuildable. 2 words, excuse me. And yet they classify it as a residential piece of property. I paid $1,500 for the residential, claimed as commercial, and I pay $500, and that's for the stupid runoff. Where's the runoff to? 3 Mile Creek. So it's rather interesting. The lots cannot be built on because there's the main sewer of Leavenworth under it. We do not have a county administrator. No, Bob is not. He's just hired by the state. And these are just my little problems. and it's a total shame that state can do whatever. When they take charge at the meeting. I had a lady, and I won't mention her name, wonderful lady. We went over to speak. You can't get a lawyer. Lawyers don't want it. They want the big companies, where they can get the big money. So you can't get a lawyer. First of all, they don't know anything about it. They don't even challenge. They haven't been to school on it. But it's amazing that the vacant lots, all this that take place, that the state has control of it. The county doesn't have it. They're yes men, good people. We got a lot of good county people working down the hall, but it's a total shame, and it will be that way the rest of our lives. And I only got 15 years left, 101, and I feel sorry for the county commission and the state and the city. But someday function as you're in charge of the county. State isn't in charge. You are. Tell the state to go where because they don't care. She sits there with $4.5 billion in her little play lot. Ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Clem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have the desire to make public comment today? If not, we'll move on to administrative business. Mr. Lothry, do you have anything for us today?
Commissioners, I just wanted to make sure that everybody remembered that next week there is a conference in Wichita, and 2 commissioners will be attending that, so there will only be 3 of you. And I know there are some items on next week's agenda that may require a supermajority vote, which would be 4 people. So I don't know if the 2 that are going to be in Wichita are able to call in or not, but you might want to take that into consideration, just so you're prepared for next week.
You know what your guys' schedule is?
No,
You're able to call in?
It's all. Things like this, I like to be able to look at the folks when we do that. I think they have to be the one to put it off to come back following. The county can't do that. And what I'm saying is, could it be put off for a week till we're all in session? We're all here.
Well,
I think it has to be on next week's agenda because of the time frame, but I don't know. I think you could probably, the board who's here next week could table it at that time
If they wanted to,
decide
okay. And the people coming up, I just like to be present when we're making decisions on citizens. We have that county conference. They're trying to educate me and Mike. It's a challenge, but I think we'd like to sure be here on that. That's just my feelings on that, Mike.
Yeah, if there was a way to push it back a week, I think that would be. I mean, I guess you guys will have to act.
we'll still have to hear it next week and
Yeah.
then table it.
Do whatever you think. I just wanted to share that with you.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Anything?
I don't.
I got a couple, or
You go ahead.
I got a couple. I was going to bring up, we had a private road issue in my district, but Mr. Jacobson took care of that. He emailed this morning on it and explained pretty much how these private roads work, and that's kind of I believe that should take care of it.
Good.
And then talked about that. I ran across something pretty interesting. It was January 10th, 1794. James Madison said in the House of Representatives, charity is no part of the legislative duty of the government. In other words, the government could not take money from one citizen or group of citizens and give it to another for charities. So that was in 1794. That should probably apply today. That's all I
Anything
have.
else? Okay. Commissioner Stephen?
Couple things. Read an article in the paper from a local legislator, and I think a couple things need to be addressed. I'll just read a paragraph. It's another property tax year, and this legislator says, it's time for the Leavenworth County Commissioners to send you yet another letter claiming that it's not their fault that they're raising your property taxes again. It's the fault of the state legislature. Yet again, they're providing their annual excuse that we in the Kansas legislature are breaking the law by not returning tax money to the county. So just a couple things about that I just don't think are correct entirely. I don't think that our letter was claiming that it's not our fault about raising taxes. I don't think we said that. But I do think we addressed what has not been done in Topeka. And we only have a certain amount of authority, and I was looking at some of I wrote this about a year ago, it was in the paper, but the county commission has lowered the mill levy 2 of the last 3 years, and that year we're going to reduce it another quarter of a mill. So, with the exception of the upcoming budget, because of the building having fallen apart, and we have to make repairs on the historic courthouse, which we are taking, by the way, if you want to contribute to the courthouse, we are collecting for that. We're hoping that private donations will pay for a lot of it. I would like to think that. But prior to that, we have reduced the mill levy from the county. But that doesn't mean your taxes are going down, because the school districts make up about 60 cents out of every property tax dollar. The county's portion is around 25 cents. So even if we reduce our mill levy on the county, we don't control the school districts. We don't control the cities. We don't control the townships. We don't control the library boards or other political subdivisions of the state. We don't have control over them. So when a legislator makes a blanket statement about how we're raising taxes, well, the fact is we haven't raised taxes. We've been lowering taxes. But the other part of that is that under the Kansas property tax valuation system, your taxes go up automatically when your valuation goes up. So every year you see your spikes because they compare your property to other properties, and your valuation goes up, your taxes go up. These commissioners can't change that. These legislators can. They can put a cap on your property tax to prevent these spikes. 26 states have a cap on property taxes. Kansas does not. These legislators last year, the only adjustment they made to property taxes was on the 20 mils for schools. They increased the exemption from, I believe it was 41,000 to 75,000. That amounts to about $200 or less for the average home owner in reductions in property taxes. That was probably eaten up by most of the people in Leavenworth County by just their valuations going up. Probably went up more than that. So the legislature hasn't done their job. They've failed to do their job, and then they accuse us of pointing fingers. We're not pointing fingers. We're just asking for help.
We're stating facts.
Yeah. But we need their help. And they may not like LAVTR. I understand that. But if we had a cap on your property tax at 3 or 4%, and it was capped, and then we also had the LAVTR funding, which amounts to about 4 mils, which is $4 million around that estimate, would have gone to lower your property tax. So you would have had it capped, and you would have had it lowered had the legislature taken action to fund LAVTR and cap your property taxes. It's in Kansas, valuation and appraisals in the Constitution. So they had to put this on the ballot. It went through the Senate last session, but the House, the Speaker of the House, didn't agree to take it up. They failed to act. So it didn't go on your ballot. So now it's just pushed back. And your taxes are going to go up and up and up. And our job as commissioners is to let you know we can only control a little piece of it. But your legislators can control how much it's impacting you and your family. So we need their help. We don't need the finger pointing, and we're not finger pointing. In fact, this gentleman, I endorsed him in the election, and
You ought to feel real good about that. But
it's too bad. But that's not what it's about. It's about let's all work together to reduce these property taxes.
And I'm going to have to disagree with you when you say they don't like LABTR. I think they like it because they're still collecting the sales tax on it.
I guess they like to keep the money.
Well, then they like it. They just don't like to give it back. But you are correct on that, Mike. I do agree with you on that.
Could I just add one more thing to it? The thing that I think concerned me more on this is whether it's pointing fingers at each other, is that we can't sit down at the table. What more concerned to me, and I reached out to Pat to ask him to attend the legislative breakfast, because until we sit down at the table and start talking about these issues in front of each other and quit doing these emails and stuff like that, we've had problems. We've had invites. Mark, I know Pat said he's not going to attend, which I wish he would reconsider. We've got to have these tough conversations. How many other legislators have signed up so far?
Well, Commissioners, only Senator Klemp has signed up to attend.
And I need to let you know that I reached out to every one of them to come to the table so we can sit down. This property tax is not going away, and until we can sit down and start talking about it civilly and get this going forward, it's in the state's hands. What do we need, state, do we need to do to help you? We've testified, we've done all the stuff that we think we can, but what is it going to take for us to get some help on relief of property tax? We're not the enemy, but I suggest you legislators who I know will hear this, please plan on attending the legislative breakfast that this body does every year so we can sit down and have those tough conversations.
That's Friday the 13th, December 13th.
Yes, sir.
Well, they've all declined except for Commissioner Klemp. I mean, not Commissioner, Senator Klemp. I'm sorry.
Well, I sent out another email yesterday hoping that the ones that I haven't heard from any of them, but I knew Pat
Well,
put that in
Becky
the...
has.
Representative Johnson's declined.
Has he?
Yes.
And I just think that needs to be noted, because if we can't sit down at the table and have a civil conversation, how are we ever going to get results to fix some of these problems? I mean, it's not going away. It's not going away.
Can you read it?
Is that Representative Johnson?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah, read that because
I haven't seen it.
Okay, here's a correspondence from Representative Johnson. Leavenworth County Commissioners, I will not attend this meeting, but have spoken with two newly elected members who will assume places on the commission in January and will respectfully consider a meeting after they are sworn in. It is regretful that the county has chosen to send a formal letter to taxpayers denigrating the other elected officials at the state level without providing a fair and impartial opportunity to these officials to present and explain the facts from their perspective. Okay, right there, we're providing, with this legislative breakfast, we're providing an opportunity for a fair and impartial opportunity for Representative Johnson to come and explain the facts from their perspective. We're providing that. But he says that we're not. During my recent campaign, I endeavored to speak openly and respectfully to citizens, and disappointed that members of the commission are using less than honorable methods to disparage myself and other state officials. I know I haven't said anything disparaging. I don't think I've heard any of the other commissioners. We're not disparaging. We're just asking that we're going to keep the pressure on these property taxes, folks.
that's all we can do.
And
I believe our two new elected commissioners will be at this. I'm sure they were invited to
Yes,
this.
they were.
So they'll be there at this legislative breakfast.
Yes, they will be. Well, they said they would, I believe.
Well, I'll make sure Mr. Dove is there.
And I've talked to-
I gotta
and I've
get him
talked to-
bring him myself.
well, he's
And
right here.
Did you get that?
And I've spoken with Vanessa, and she indicated to me she'd be there too. So
I'll just put an olive branch out there. We didn't intend to cause Representative Johnson to feel this way, and we just would like him to come and have
Absolutely.
a conversation about property taxes, because we're getting all kinds of calls about property taxes.
that's
And
what
our
I-
constituents are very upset that they might have to leave the state if this keeps going.
You know, Mike,
And-
sometimes you got to have these tough conversations, but you can do it in a civil manner. And I think, but if you don't come to the table, you'll never understand what we're really going through up here, and how can you help us? I mean, and maybe show us something that we don't understand. But right now it's property tax, and Leavenworth County is getting killed on this. I just got mine. Folks, we all in this boat together. We need some help to fix this. And I'm not going to criticize them. I just want them to take the time to come up here and talk to all of us, and let's see where we can go forward.
And I hope when they go to Topeka, they'll be representing their constituents and the local government officials and the people back home, and not representing the special interests in Topeka that don't agree with putting a cap on property taxes and don't agree with funding LAVTR. And because if something doesn't change, you're not going to get any changes in Topeka on property
And you're not
taxes.
gonna get
And it's just going to go
Survey,
up and
there was
up and
only
up.
18% that didn't want it.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be, special interest shouldn't be pushing for that. Then. It's only 18% of the people, and they represent the people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
that's,
seem to forget that we are people too, and whether Commissioner Smith and I are elected or not, I will continue to be a citizen, and I'm a well-educated, non-elected citizen, and so my mouth will not be closed on this issue. I won't be silenced. I have not been silenced for 6 years, and I'm not going to be silenced now.
I didn't know I wasn't elected. I didn't know I ran.
well, and there's just a couple other things, because we've been talking about property taxes for years and years and years, but this came up with Mr. Klemp. I guess he's left the room now, but what is the role of the county commissioners in relation to the county appraiser? The county appraisers are responsible for appointing the county commissioners are responsible for appointing a qualified county appraiser from a list of candidates who have met the educational and statutory requirements as outlined in state law. Selection is made from a state-approved list of qualified candidates to be appraiser. The county commission does not have authority over the day-to-day operation of the appraiser's office. The county appraiser is governed by the statute and state administrative regulations promulgated by the Kansas Department of Revenue and administered by the Division of Property Valuation. So we do not control the office across the hall. They are following the rules established by the state of Kansas. And the main reason why this was established was if you look at property taxes, it's funding public education. That's the main source of funding for public education. But does the county commission instruct the county appraiser on the amount he is to raise in valuation, appraised values, or necessary revenue? We had a legislator that said that was the case. One of our state legislators said that. And the answer is no. The county commission is entirely separate and does not communicate any expectations on valuation decisions of any kind. Does the county commission have authority over all property taxes within the county? No. The county commission only has authority over county spending, which is between 25 and 28% of total property taxes. School districts have authority over approximately 40% of property taxes, with the remainder going to cities, townships, fire districts, library boards, and other local subdivisions of the state of Kansas. So when we have a legislator accusing the county of once again, our yearly tax increases that we are passing along, it's just not the case.
To the Times, right.
Just challenging everyone to pray for these folks.
I agree.
I pray for them every day. I ask God to forgive them, for they know not what they do.
That's all.
And bearing false witness is not the thing to do. Okay, anybody else? I have nothing. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Begin voting with Commissioner Mike Smith.
Aye.
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 Aye, and I vote aye. Motion carries. Well, now we are down to formal board action. So, Mr. Jacobson and company, come on up.
Morning, gang.
Welcome.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
Before you is case number DEV 24, 132, and 133. This is a request to replat lots 3 and 7 of the Thomas Farm subdivision into a 4-lot subdivision. As mentioned during the public comment section, the applicant is proposing to have 2 lots that would front off of Donahue Road. However, a no access restriction has been placed along that frontage, and they intend to put a access easement through Lot 2 for the benefit of Lot 1, and that access point would access off of 147th. They did request 2 exceptions from the subdivision regulations, one being a non-conforming structure on Lot 3, and the other is the lot depth to lot width requirements for Lot 4. The Planning Commission did consider this at their November 13th meeting and did approve those exceptions. And with that, the remaining subdivision was compliant with the regulations, so they are recommending approval of this item to this body. As far as the access point, I just want to reiterate that is a permitting requirement, and they are seeking a variance from those standards. However, that action is separate from the subdivision. So I just wanted to clarify that for you. If you have any questions, please let me know, but everything was provided in the staff report for you.
Baser's not supportive of this?
Baser was not supportive of this. They felt that it would potentially impact the future development of the city as it grows.
And what does Baser's comprehensive plan?
I did not verify what they indicated for this area, but I assume it's residential.
Typically higher density residential, which would be dependent on a sanitary sewer. And as
Right.
you know, there's a force main that's located north of Donahue, but they have indicated they cannot tap into that force main for development.
And they don't have any plans in the future, so
According to Baser, no, they don't, not at this point. They have a plan for the entire area, but they don't have any plan to.
right, for
define it.
annexation and upgrading the sewer and anything else. Okay.
So,
Does Baser's position, has it changed, or was that the consistent throughout?
During the initial application, we did not receive a comment from them, I assume because they had staff turnover during that time. However, once the new planner came on, they have maintained this position.
That could be 25, 30 years down the road.
Yeah.
So, if you're ready for a motion, I will do that. Madam Chair, I move that we approve case number DEV 24-133 is compliant with the county zoning subdivision regulation, and move that the proposed and final plat be conditionally approved and accepted by this board, subject to the conditions set forth by staff report as adopted in the Planning Commission with all the exceptions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Then I'll begin voting with Commissioner Mike Smith.
aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
John, thanks for writing that email for that private road issue, 'cause, that was well put. I'm hoping that takes care of everything. Thank
Tell your
you.
dad Steve said hi, because I'll tell him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are down to
Consent agenda.
Presentations.
presentations and discussion items. Do we have anything?
I've just got a couple. Again, Mike and I will be in a conference for a day or two next week, so we'll try to get educated. And the only other thing I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and your friends, because life is short.
Yeah. So,
That's all I have.
the extension budget was in the consent agenda, and I just,
Yeah, so
I thought we were going to save some money when they moved over into Cushing, and we spent $750,000 remodeling that space and buying new furniture and paying to move it. Their budget hasn't gone down any. They're not paying rent.
That needs to be addressed in your next budget.
I know, but we have to approve this budget today. But
Which we did.
we did.
Technically, the budget was approved back when we approved
Right.
our budget.
Right, but
This is just so we could.
it's a formality from the
Chairperson
state.
can sign the form for the state.
But I'm just saying, we're talking about things that aren't sustainable. this is not sustainable, but I don't see any cuts here. I mean, we cut what we were paying out on sick leave so we can fund outside agencies like this. So that's not sending a real good message to our employees.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Commissioner Stewart?
I would like county administrator to address. Been getting some correspondence from the Humane Society about animals out in the county and that kind of thing. What's the progress of that, and what do you foresee as happening going forward on that issue?
I think that's the sheriff's.
Yeah, Commissioners, as you're aware, the Sheriff's Office handles animal control in the county, in the rural parts of the county. I have spoken with him and his staff on that subject, and they assure me that they have plans in place to continue on with the operations as they believe is sufficient, and I have full faith that they're going to do so. I think the and what you're referencing from the Humane Society is actually not relevant to the issue, because I think the sheriff already has it taken care of.
Did anybody receive their mailer?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted people to be assured that this issue is being handled and
is accepting the responsibility and continues to accept responsibility, and it's not the role of the county commissioners to.
The only response I've got was a couple citizens that live in the city of Basel, and they don't want to be double taxed for animal control because they're already paying for it through the city. They've got a contract. They don't want the county to up their game anymore.
Yeah,
Our budgets are set.
Right.
Our budget's set, and it's
right.
in the sheriff's department's budget. So I don't know what other money would be available for this organization. And then again, you know where I stand on outside agencies. If you don't, I can get back on that soapbox again.
That's okay.
Why not?
We know where you are.
I mean, we got plenty of time. We're early meeting.
Commissioners, I think that the county pays for services,
partnership meeting.
that the services do not have to be with any one particular entity. So
Right.
I think the sheriff is prepared, and I don't see any issue here. I don't really think there's anything for us to discuss or address. I think it's taken care of.
Right. That's why I said it's
Well, I
been
just
taken
think
care
that
of
we
by a
need to
different
assure
department.
people of that.
Yeah, well,
And a different elected
taken care of.
official is responsible for this issue, and we don't have in our budget the funding for it. So,
Additional.
and
We
it
have
is in the
budget.
sheriff's budget.
We
So
have what
We
the
have
current
money
budget is.
budgeted, but it's
Right.
through the sheriff's department.
That's what I
because
said.
He is our
It's-
animal control.
right, it's taken care of
Well-
through the sheriff's department in their budgets.
When I received the letter also, while I think that these folks do an outstanding
They
job,
do.
they're located in Lansing, this is the responsibility of the sheriff's department. And times being tough, you have to make tough decisions. And I know they made a contract, I believe, with Lansing and somebody else to do it. But the county has someone that oversees that, and it's an elected person, and that's our elected sheriff. So that it has to be addressed with him, and I'm think very high of Andy, and I'm sure he's doing well with this.
And don't get me wrong, I think that they do a great job.
They
know,
do
yeah,
do a
everything,
great job.
but-
All of, I mean, it's
No, I
and
think
it's an
it's-
essential service.
Absolutely.
But we don't have the capacity to
Yeah.
provide additional funding. That's the bottom line.
Certainly not at a
Not-
level of 593% increase.
Right. I just
The reason I wanted to bring it up is sometimes, like with the High Prairie issue, it gets put out there on social media, because we live in the social media era, that the county's not going to do our job as providing fire protection. Well, that's not true. We clarified that. Same thing with this. We're going to do our job, which we are required for animal control. We're doing our job. It's budgeted. It's in the budget. Being taken care of by the sheriff's department. And we don't have unlimited resources.
right. That's what I'm saying is that we don't have additional funds to provide at this point in time. So
Maybe that's something the state should take over. But then they'd put it back on the counties, it'd be an
Yeah.
unfunded mandate.
true.
So just just to touch on the issue you brought up about the outside agency funding. I will point out that if you look over the last 5 years, that outside agency funding has been dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's dropped probably, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's dropped significantly.
Yes, it is.
So we have been reducing the outside agency funding. We just have to determine which, there's some things
Priorities.
that are the meat and some things, the meat and the bone, and some things are the fat.
Right. Some things are essential.
That's why we do the budget.
Well, because we don't want to have to take over funding through the county of some of the essential services that are provided for some of our outside agencies, which is the way that I view that. But that's up to the commission as it moves forward in the next budget year. So, but all I have, and you have anything else? No, I just have to go do the workforce partnership meeting here in 10 minutes on Zoom for the CEO meeting, and then a reminder of the commissioners and the incoming commissioners that there are certain boards that need to be taken care of. And
Yeah, I've got
so
that
those
list. We'll do that.
decisions-
We'll do that with the new people coming in.
Yeah, that needs to be kind of dealt with very, very shortly because we're going to have a gap on the kneecap. And I also wanted to congratulate our kneecap. They received a Bezos Foundation grant of $2.5 million for the next 5 years.
I saw that.
And it's
That's
for
great.
homeless families within the catchment area of kneecap. But it's going to be an incredible boost for
Yes.
funding for homelessness for families in our communities. And it's a very broad, open
Yeah, I read that. It
grant
does,
for the
yeah.
services that it can cover.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I thought that was
I'm very
great.
proud of the group and the staff at kneecap, and it's an outstanding organization, and I highly recommend whichever commissioner, I highly recommend it. It's a worthwhile organization to be involved in.
Yeah, it is.
It's essential in our
It is.
community.
It is. And I love grants.
Yep, but that's,
But you know what? We've got to have qualified staff to apply for
Yeah,
it.
that's true. And I think we've got
and
it.
kneecap does too, so it's like.
That's what I'm
so-
saying. I mean,
just-
We've got
grants
it.
just don't fall in.
No, they
that.
don't. And this was-
You've got to have people working to get
The
there.
amazing
Yeah.
thing about this one is that kneecap, it's an invitation only, and because of the work and the quality of work that our kneecap has provided, they were invited to apply for the Bezos
Yes,
Foundation
I saw
grant.
that.
So
Yeah.
it's a pretty big feather in their
And
cap,
that's
I think.
pretty impressive. I agree with you.
But other than that, I have nothing, so I'll.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Voting?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.